Hi, I'm Bart Hansen. I'm the owner and lead instructor for CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the instructions in the video description. Okay.
So it's a 1025 with a mandatory straddle at 50
So
at the Monte Carlo Casino.
Okay.
Effective stack size is 19,400, and I'm the effective stack.
19,400, and you are the effective stack. By the way, I looked at your Instagram. I think it's pretty cool. I don't know if you want to share it with people out there, but your handle?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Sean Aria, yeah?
Yeah, Dr. Sean Aria. Okay, so 10, 25, 50, 19,400 effective, okay.
Yeah. So I had literally sat down maybe 15, 20 minutes ago with 20K.
Uh-huh.
So I have no idea about any patterns or, what people play, etc.
Yeah.
I'm under the gun +1, and I have King, Queen of Hearts, and I open to 200.
Hero +1, 200, okay. King of Hearts, Queen of Hearts.
Middle position calls, hijack calls, button calls, and the big blind also calls.
Wow, this is like what we had talked about, like what are the nature of these games, because usually if you see a game like this, unless it's on a live stream, it's pretty rare to go call, right? Like at stakes this level, people are going to squeeze or whatever. These guys are, did any of them look like Euro pros, or is more like recreational look?
Like I said,
no clue.
I literally had sat down, like 10 minutes prior to this. So I played one hand, and then this was my second hand.
Yeah.
So I have no idea about anyone really yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So the pot's €1,000,
Yep.
and the flop comes 10 of clubs, 9 of hearts, 5 of hearts.
So you flop gut shot to a jack and a flush draw, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
The second nut flush draw and the gut shot to a jack.
Yep.
So the big blind checks, and I bet 550.
So this is interesting because when you sent this one in here too, when the big blind, the button, the hijack, and MP1 call, right? So it's four ways. I don't think this is a mandatory bet here. With the 5 ways, right, into 4 people. I don't think this is a mandatory bet. Like, let's say, for example, you had like the naked nut flush draw here, like ace-6 of hearts or something like that, right? I think you might be doing a fair amount of checking here, and it could be the same thing. I don't think it's terrible to bet with that much equity, but possibly you might want to look at the draws that are even a little less nutted and lower to do your betting here, this multi-way, like a 7-8 of hearts or a queen jack of hearts with a little bit more equity and sort of less. I mean, you don't have the nut flush draw, right? Obviously, gutter to a jack. I'm just saying that it's not just like a slam dunk bet. You bet 550, which is pretty large multi-way. It can cause some issues if you raise. Like I said, I don't think it's a mistake or anything. It's just something to think about. Okay, so you bet 550.
Right.
Yep.
So middle position calls. The hijack also calls. And I'm sorry, wait a second. I got this wrong. Sorry. I bet 550. Middle position calls. Hijack raises to 2750.
Ah, okay. Raises to 2750. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And now the button, he 3-bets to 7,000.
Wow. And everybody's 20,000 deep. 3-bet 7,000, right?
Yeah, I'm the smallest stack at the table. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the shortest stack at the table.
So you bet 550, King, Queen of Hearts on 10 of clubs, 9 of hearts, 5 of hearts, right?
Correct.
MP1 calls, hijack raises to 2750, button 3-bets to 7,000.
Yeah.
The
big folds, and the action's back on me.
See, now that
I felt like this was a jam or fold. There was no I
think because the pot's going to be so big. I think I would. By the way, too, it's interesting to note that the 10 is not a heart. So if somebody thinks that they're like, here's the thing. I think that I would probably jam here in the hopes that if somebody has the nut flush draw in between there, that you're going to fold them out, right? Your hand's got a boatload of equity, unless here's where your hand runs into trouble, Sean. It's one of the first tips I've ever put out on Twitter. You beware of a multi-way situation where you're up against a made hand and a dominating draw, because that's a recipe for 0% equity. Now, King Queen of Hearts wouldn't have 0%, but it would be doing very, very poorly against the nut flush draw and a made hand, right? You'd be basically screwed. But I feel like if you do jam here, that I don't really know how the nut flush draw is going to call. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, even the hijack who makes a 2750, I don't even know. I mean, I guess it's possible. Like, MP can't call that cold, though. And if the button has the nut flush draw for some reason, you're not doing, like, awful. Unless he has ace-10 of hearts here, which you're probably still, like, 30% against. I mean, 2 overs, you're blocking hearts, and a gut shot to a jack, right?
Right.
It's not, like, getting in like, terrible. And I think that, say, for example, the hijack has 10-9 here. I think it's a tough call for the hijack to put in all that money with 10-9. I mean, I know he blocks like a lot of the sets, but he could have a set of fives behind him. He's the initial raiser, right?
Right.
So, it's like one of these things where, yeah, I mean, if somehow you could clean up a hand and then you're up against just the nut flush draw, I think I would probably jam for the reasons that you were talking about, that the pot is going to be so big here. If you think that, I mean, you don't really know anything, right? So you don't really know anything about these guys, so you don't know if the guys are going to necessarily fold out. But that would be my initial reaction here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the main question, because I did not call. I folded because I just felt like
I don't think it's I mean, I can get on board here with the fold as well, but that's my initial reaction, is to, I don't think you're probably not giving up that much. I think you're right in the sense that you can't really call, right? You know what I mean? Like, calling is just like I think calling would be the worst. The worst option,
yeah.
Right? Because then you're not going to get fold equity in between. So you folded. What ended up happening?
Yeah, so the turn was the jack of clubs, and the river was a blank.
So what happened with the hijack? Did the hijack just call? The MP folded and hijack called?
The hijack called.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hijack had a set of nines and called, and the other guy had ace jack of hearts. So I was up against the absolute worst draws, but I would have been the...
But you would, yeah, but if you had jammed, though, you would have been screwed, right? Because unless the button...
been screwed, yeah, because...
I don't know. I mean, I guess the button's going to get 2-1, right? Yeah, he's going to get 2-1, right?
The button who bet 7,000, he had the ace jack of hearts. So he was never folded.
Right, so he was going to get 2-1. So you would have scooped the pot, though, huh?
I would have scooped the pot, yeah. But yeah. I think it was considering I had literally no money in the pot, it was probably it was a good play, I think.
Well, here's the thing that it's very, very rare for the button, I feel like, to show up with a nut flush draw there. Because if you knew the button, you're like, this guy goes wild with draws, I'm scared the button might have the nut flush draw, I could definitely lean towards more of a fold. But if you're looking at this in a vacuum, and you bet and it goes call, raise, how often is the guy going to 3-bet the nut flush draw? It's pretty stupid to do that, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's pretty stupid. Yeah, it's really, I mean, he's up against a made hand. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he just looked at his cards and thought he has 2 overs and the nut flush draw, and he's got so much equity, etc., etc. But, he could have been up, which he was. He was up against a set. He had very little equity in reality. So
right. I just, like I said, when you're looking at, you always have to take these things like in a vacuum a little bit if you have absolutely no information, unless I'm seeing something totally crazy. And even though it's in Monte Carlo and it's high stakes, I would have to say, okay, it's high stakes. These guys would have to be at least a little bit competent here. How often is the button going to show up with the nut flush draw? And the thing is that, and the other people in between, like, say the hijack raised with the nut flush draw. If it went call 2750, and then let's say the button, say, like, folded, and then, like, you jam. Well, I guess the pot would have been really big. I'm trying to think of. Yeah, okay. So let's say that the hijack made it 2750, the button made it, 7,000, and you jammed. The guys in between up front might not call off with the naked nut flush draw, right? Because if they're up against, they're up against sets. Yeah. They're not going to get, they're going to 3-1 dog. So that was my thinking. You see what I'm saying? As long as the button doesn't have the nut flush draw.
No.
So, anyways, Sean, as always, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for the call. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA200. Click on the link right there.